The 55th Annual Rockport Art Festival is coming up July 4th weekend, and today is our first in a series of 6 interviews with artists who will be exhibiting at that annual festival. We have Patsy Lindamood on the line. Welcome, Patsy.
Hi, nice to be speaking with you today.
Well, it's just a pleasure to have you. Your art's been on exhibit at Rockport Art Fest for a number of years. What mediums will we see you using this year?
This year, my booth will be filled with graphite artwork, which puts it into the drawing category. But I usually talk about my work as being more painterly. I apply the graphite in a very painterly style, and the subject matter will feature silos and abandoned homes and barns from around the area, as well as a little bit of wildlife art.
And you used to really focus on wildlife and humans, and then were kind of drawn to other elements of the environment.
Yes, I think that, I had this one particular birding event where I was chasing an osprey into a marina area and found some Texas work boats there. And the Texas work boats developed into being more aware of the surroundings in general. It was also on that trip that I first fell in love with the appearance of silos on the landscape. In fact, I even became interested in painting transformers on that particular trip.
You also talk a bit about the surfaces you paint on, and I consider myself a lifelong learner, and I love to share knowledge with my listeners. So give us a mini lesson about surfaces, because, if you're not a painter, you're not really aware of those things.
Absolutely. And in fact, on the banner that I hang in my booth, I note that my work is graphite on cradled clayboard, and I'm asked over and over again, what is this thing, clayboard? It is a surface that is manufactured over in Buda, Texas, by a company called Ampersand. Its co-founder, Elaine Salazar, remains the CEO of the company today, and she and her staff are just committed to creating and improving as wide a range of surfaces as possible for artists to work on. So they're trying to support the work of the broadest possible range of artists. When I began transitioning from working in color pencil and soft pastel back in late 2018, early 2019, I needed to find the right surface to work on. That was always the key to my success as a pastel artist, and I felt it would be key to being a strong graphite artist as well. So I finally settled on this surface called clayboard. It's not maybe the obvious choice. It's very, very smooth, and it's eggshell colored. It's not white. And thus the title of my booth is Shades of Gray, because my work isn't really black and white. It is a strong range of shades of gray. The reason the clayboard surface works so exceptionally well for me is that it has kaolin in it. It's a type of clay, makes the surface extraordinarily absorbent. I like to work with my board in a vertical position on my easel, and the graphite rarely drifts or falls off the surface. That kaolin makes it very absorbent, just grips the graphite. And also, because the board is extremely durable, it allows me to work that graphite in many, many painterly ways. So I use a lot of removal techniques where I put graphite down and then I lift the graphite back off. I've experimented with things like scrubber pads for pots and pans to create surface and texture and move the graphite around on the board. And I also use a lot of blending tools that were originally created for color pencil work, and I use that to move the graphite around on the board as well. So all in all, the Ampersand clay board gives me the opportunity to work in graphite, but to create in a very painterly style.
Well, your works are amazing, and I, of course, went online and looked at them, and they look like photographs. They're so detailed. Tell our listeners how they can see your work online.
Well, I have a website, lindamoodart.com. That's LINDAMOOD art.com. And you can also follow me on @lindamoodart on Instagram.
Well, listeners, you heard it here. Patsy Lindamood is one of the many artists whose work you can see. And I love this, Patsy, that I can talk to our listeners and that they have a way to access work online by looking at lindamoodart.com. And then the best scenario would be if people can actually make it out to the Rockport Art Fest. So thanks so much for talking to us. Hope you have a great show. Hope you just sell everything you take.
That would be a dream. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I've been speaking with Patsy Lindamood. She is one of the 120 artists who will be featured at the Rockport Art Festival on July 4th weekend.